So I don't know if you guys saw this because, well, the school district apparently is covering it up and the mainstream media has not covered it. And that's where people like me come in. And I hope that you appreciate the coverage. I know that there's a lot going on. It's kind of hard to keep, everything going on, everything together. And so I try to, we cover everything. Now we're bringing out short form content next week, short form news. There's just so much news. I'm trying to double down in 2026 and improve my product and be more available to everybody. And this story was really going under the radar. So at Billings Senior High School, I don't know why you call it a senior high school. I don't know if that's just seniors. It's just a Billings Senior High School. Maybe that means a senior at Billings High School is in stable condition, as well as a teacher after suffering some unrequested pokey pokes by guess what kind of person? Just take a guess. And the school district appears to be covering it up, but we have all the information here after a super quick word from this video sponsor. Shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, if you aren't using a VPN yet, you're completely missing out, and Private Internet Access is the one I use on all of my devices. If you've been following the news, you see that censorship, websites, apps are getting shut down in certain countries, all sorts of craziness. Well, a VPN helps you never have to worry about that. Private Internet Access also protects you from the prying eyes of hackers, internet service providers, and others that can view your personal data. Perhaps also just as importantly, Private Internet Access allows you to access region-restricted content from all over the world. Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and more have different library options based on where you're located, and some shows simply cannot be accessed if you're not in the target location. Happens to me all the time. Many sports events also have regional blackouts. Well, VPNs can be a convenient way to make sure you're getting the content that you're paying for. Private Internet Access also allows you to protect an unlimited amount of devices all at the same time, so your entire household with a single subscription. And I've been working with Private Internet Access so long that I have an absolutely massive discount available to my viewers. Link in the description below. Get Private Internet Access today using my link. Save huge, protect your computers, access all the content that you've been paying for. Now let's start with the mainstream media coverage. I looked and looked and looked for articles covering this. Nobody has made any mention of the radical gender ideology that led to this attack. Two people got the old pokey poke at Billings Senior High. District official canceled Wednesday's classes. Did you even know that? So this happened on Tuesday. Has anybody seen anything in this in the news? I haven't. This article came out yesterday, I suppose, on the Daily Montanan. You don't see CNN covering this. You don't see even Fox News covering this, which you would think they would. You don't see, MSNBC, the Daily Beast. Haven't seen anybody cover this, which is interesting to me. So, two people, a student and a teacher, are recovering and expected to survive a poking at Billings Senior High School on Tuesday afternoon. A little before 4:30 p.m., the senior high went into lockdown. 4:30 p.m. Why was school even, I guess, after school stuff? After school district officials say a teacher was attacked by a student who had a knife, Billings police confirmed that two people were taken to an area hospital. Lieutenant Samantha Puckett on Wednesday said the department is not releasing any other information, but that all people involved have been accounted for and there's no threat to the public. Isn't it funny how often they say that? Isn't that funny how often that gets said? If only we had common sense knife laws, everybody. Isn't it funny how often that ends up the case? Like, oh, well, we're not commenting anymore on it because, I don't know, they were a minor or whatever. Look, I'm not saying you have to give me any of their specific information, but I am saying there is a pattern here that citizen journalists have to dig to find out. The incident happened after class on the third floor of the high school, which serves 1,600 students. School officials canceled school and activities Tuesday night and Wednesday, though they said there was no ongoing threat to the public. Students there begin finals on Thursday. On Tuesday, there was a girls and boys wrestling meet scheduled, as well as an orchestra concert that was canceled. Police are still investigating the scene and the motives, while school district officials said there will be crisis counselors available. Well, how about we have to go to the internet to figure this out? Breaking: a teacher at Billings High School in Montana received an unwanted piercing. The police and the school are being very tight-lipped about the student attacker. I'm told by multiple sources that it was in fact a transgender student, a male who thinks he's a girl. I'm told he took out the teacher and then himself. So maybe they tried to, take out the teacher and then self-delete. I don't really know exactly. Both are recovering in the hospital. Why are police and staff covering this up? The public has a right to be informed about the dangers to the society. I feel like if I had a kid in school, I would want to know how many trans students there are. If there are any, I'd be like, well, we have an unnecessary risk. I mean, I'm just talking about, pure percentages here. That's it, right? Billings is a superintendent. Erwin Garcia must be transparent with parents and the public about this attack. Well, we have the student's name and social media. It appears he started transitioning a few years ago. We reached out to the district to confirm his identity and what they are doing about it. We also have reached out to the police for information as no charges have been filed. Isn't that interesting? No charges filed. Now, maybe that means they will eventually file more charges. But as of right now, 2 days later, a trans individual took out a teacher and then themselves, apparently, no charges. 2 days later. They got a lot going on Billings, Montana, where they're just behind on paperwork? I don't think so. Update: the superintendent is now refusing to confirm the details of the student attacker to us or what actions are being done after a student believed to identify as trans took out a teacher. Hello, blank. The local police department is currently investigating an incident involving a teacher and a student who sustained injuries. As this remains an active investigation, the names of the individuals involved have not been released. Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how, if this kid was wearing a MAGA hat, we'd know everything about him immediately? How long did it take for them to finally release the Tranifesto in Nashville? Was it almost 2 years? Was it almost 2 years? I forget when that attack happened. Was it 2024? It's actually hard to remember how long that took before Nashville PD, and people say Montana, that's a red state. You think Tennessee, that's a red state. Yeah, not Billings and not Nashville, right? These students are run, these cities in these red states are still run by liberals. You can be sure if the student had, let's say, went after an LGBTQ student and screamed out something like, "This is MAGA country," we would know every single solitary detail. It is absolutely bonkers to me. Now, I get it. If this had just happened, on the list of things that are important, is it like, we got to get out there and tell everyone this person was trans? Well, no, I get that. We see their last tweet here. Let's look at some of the replies. Why do you want us dead? This is in September 2025. Interesting. That's odd. One of yours, you support them. Oh, here's from Billings. Charlie Kirk's death, literally chickens coming home to roost. Rouse me for something worth anyone's time. So we have apparently a teacher at the very same high school with an LGBTQ outer ring around their Facebook profile celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. So there you have it. Teachers at this university. What kind of sketchy teachers do you employ at this school? What's up with Dan Johnson? He shouldn't be around students. I mean, there you go. This guy teaches at the school. Meet Dan Johnson from Billings, Montana. Dan is a teacher at the high school. It is a high school teacher. Dan is very pleased about Charlie's assassination and decided to take to social media to let us all know how happy he is. I mean, this is, so when you say, oh, Montana, that's based, not Billings, right? And now you wonder if this teacher was his friend. Maybe this teacher is the one that ended up getting stabbed. Wouldn't that be weird? Not that I would want that, and I'm glad that everyone survived. Okay. But this is, the school promotes. I mean, this is exactly the type of people, right? Now we have this guy, a Latino guy in Montana, I guess. I don't know. Covering up for it. All of this is all so predictable. And it's just pathetic. The entire thing is pathetic. I'm really glad the teacher survived and, that the student survived and hopefully they can, begin healing and move on with their life or whatever the case may be. But this is outrageous. This, and nobody's covering it. Again, if this was a right winger going after an LGBTQ student, it would be on every major newspaper. So that's why you need to hopefully spread, if you're watching live or if you see the VOD later, share it around because it's absolutely crazy.